Welcome back to another Get to Know the Pro video. Today we are talking with Marvin Joles. Say hello, Marvin.
Hey guys, thanks for having me, Sam.
I'm excited to have you on. I'm excited to have you on as a new UAG member, first and foremost, for a couple of reasons. One of which is just that you are such a novelty and just so new to from an experiences perspective to our group. So why don't you tell everybody, introduce yourself, tell everybody about what your business is, where you are, so on and so forth.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Marvin Joles the third, and that'll end at the third. There won't be a fourth, and which is good. It's been a tough trial for us to kind of get our legs under us here at our business, and I wouldn't wish Marvin the fourth that kind of burden at all. So it's really went really well. My business, of course, is Wis-Coat, which when you hyphen up the first part of that is Wisconsin. So we're in Wisconsin here in the United States, born and raised right here. Started working at a young age, around 12 years old. Started working for a roofing company, putting shingles on and picking up shingles off the ground. And they did asphalt maintenance, just not at a very large scale. And my body type isn't made for climbing on roofs. I can tell you that much. It's all right when you're youthful, but as time goes on, you start to look for a way out. And I really enjoy this industry. When we did work this industry, I liked it a lot. I liked doing the seal coating and taking care of cracks and pavement and seeing there was a great need for it. So right out of high school, I was kind of had that entrepreneurial bit and moved up north a couple hours, started the business there, worked it through the recession, and then moved back down once we started to decide that we wanted to have children, moved back down to where I grew up. We still service both those areas here at Wis-Coat. Wis-Coat's in its going to be its 17th year. So went through a lot of learning processes and things like that to get to where we are now. But, we're a pretty good staple here in our community. And I'm really enjoying the ride that it's taking me on.
So you said there's going to be no Marvin the fourth. So because in part, from what I understood, you said because of the struggles that you've had getting to where you are today. What were some, give me without going into any details you don't want to share, what are some of the struggles that you were talking about?
No, for sure. Yeah, it's this industry, at least when I entered, always had a bad stigma about it, just because there was always this sense that you didn't really know where the product was coming from. The contractors were kind of shady. There'd be the way that they would go about it. A lot of these contractors in my industry would just come up, knock on your door and say, "Hey, we're here right now if you want this deal." And, we have went away from that somewhat, especially by using social media. So it was really hard to get out and kind of get our foot in the door and get things going. But once we were able to overcome that and become a brand that our customers or potential customers could see from beginning to end, we really started to overcome those obstacles. And when you're starting a business with any business, there's sacrifice right away. And some of those things that we had to sacrifice early on, I'm glad we don't have to anymore because we have more time for family and more time for our business and more time for us just to have fun doing what we love.
That's interesting. So the business itself. Why don't you talk a little bit about like what you do on a day-to-day basis? Because I'm not sure that everybody, in our community, because I always like to refer to you as the black industry, whereas the majority of our audience is in the green industry. Yet they're so closely related because of how close you work together, which is one of the reasons why we wanted you in the group this year.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk a little bit more about what those services are?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're very correct. The similarities are just uncanny between both industries. And for us, we offer services the same as any other contractor in the green industry would offer a line of services. We take care of seal coating, which is asphalt seal coating, which is a protecting layer that goes over the top. You often see it rejuvenate an asphalt or make it black again. That's what we do. We also take care of crack sealing, which the cracks in the pavement, especially where we live, water and ice gets down in there and causes further damage, which creates potholes. We seal those cracks up, and it's just a regular maintenance routine that goes along hand in hand with seal coating most of the time. But sometimes crack sealing does stand out on its own and is just a service for all of its own. Those potholes that get created if you do neglect your asphalt, we take care of that as well. So we will patch those holes back up with either a cold asphalt or a hot asphalt, depending on what the customer is looking for. So that's our third service. And then we do line striping. So all those lines that you see at parking lots or no parking areas, handicap logos, arrows, those kinds of things, we take care of those as well here. So we do all four of those things when it comes to asphalt maintenance. Recently, we've taken on asphalt installation as well. So we will install driveways, parking areas, things like that, and give you a brand new pavement.
Cool. So, how easy is it for a business like this, for somebody, let's say, a lawn care pro or a hardscape pro,
Mhm.
that maybe wants to look to expand, right? We have one of the things we do at Echo Means Business, as you know, is mentor and educate other business owners, on how to grow their business. And one of the things that everybody's always looking for is, how do I grow? How do I add services? Is this something that, like a landscape or hardscape pro can consider adding, or is this something that really is very niche and specialty?
Oh no, I believe I think I have a few connections that do both, that do landscaping and do asphalt maintenance as well, or do lawn care and do asphalt maintenance as well. So it's very easy to get into. As far as that goes, there's a tier that goes from all the way from an entry level to a higher level. If you want to pay that price for better equipment, better stuff to get yourself off on the right foot, definitely you can go to that higher tier, or you can start at the bottom. That's where we started here at Wis-Coat. It very simply started out with just some pails and some brushes, a leaf blower, and a broom, and then we got down to business, and then we graduated to a tote tank, which is easy for somebody to get to as well, allows you to keep more material. Same thing, brooms, brushes, and blowers, and then you just keep graduating and going up little by little. But it's definitely easy to get into, a very easy business to learn. There are a few little tidbits and tips that help you out along the way that you learn, but easy to entry, easy to market, and it's easy to add on to. If you have an existing service company already, you've got half the game beat right there, I think.
Yeah. So blowers obviously got to be one of your favorite, handheld power tools.
Yeah.
What are you working on a video for, to show the, blowers in the field?
We're excited for it because we're able to show a couple different aspects. One, regular, um, which would be, a residence cleanup or a residence service versus a parking lot, which I'm very excited to take on and see what we can do with some of our blower videos, because we've recently purchased some backpack blowers and received some that we're able to get out here and show off what we do. And sometimes in parallel, they are more effective than the big push blowers that you've seen in our industry for a long time. So it's very interesting, going to be exciting to bring that to the surface.
One of the things that I found fascinating when you and I first spoke, when you applied, to be part of the UAG program, and we had our one of our first interviews, you said that there was so many similarities in terms of the trajectory of, like, YouTubers and content marketing that was happening, in the asphalt industry, and
Mhm.
how it mirrored what was happening, over in the traditional green industry. You
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that? Because I know you became, rather well known within your industry because of your online mentorship.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be kind of in the green industry, which I really was never in, but around at the right time. And it was a time when the community really started to connect. And a lot of the topics and conversations that would come up is how to properly use social media to market your business. And these were lawn care and landscape businesses. I took that to heed to our business, Wis-Coat, and it really made the difference for our business, actually, truthfully. So one thing that I really wanted to do was create that camaraderie and that community that exists in the green industry, and start that in our industry, the asphalt industry. And I've been able to do that through many social media platforms and different tasks and different things that I kind of put on myself and say, all right, we're going to try to make this thing click or make this format click. And luckily here lately, we've got a great amount of support from our community and a lot of the ventures that we do. So I'm very excited for that.
Cool. I saw one of your, posts recently, you unboxing, another award that you just got. What was that?
It is. It is. Yeah. We just received the Best of the Web award, and that's an award. It's actually um, presented by the Pavement Maintenance magazine, which is the top tier magazine in our industry. And the award winner is chosen by the community, by the industry. So, it speaks volumes to us because we were up against some companies that have been staples in the industry for a long time, very large as well. And it's really worked out good for us because we're able to be just a portion of their size, but yet be able to receive this award. So it's been a really great blessing for us and it's just kind of one of those all shucks moments because we've worked very hard here creating content and creating a brand that is recognizable for our industry and pushing it in a positive direction. And I believe we were recognized for that with the award.
What's some of your philosophy around doing that, developing that content? Because content generation is not an easy thing to do for people, and a lot of business owners will say, "Well, I'd rather be out there just mowing and making money, as opposed to developing content." Why is developing that content for either for social media purposes or for your website, so important?
Well, especially for us, it allows us to keep in front of our viewers or the people that we're trying to get the attention of, especially in the off season like we are right now. It allows us to be able to keep this content, to catalog it and keep a presence on. So if we're doing, whether it's Facebook ads or we're doing organic posts or whether it's on our YouTube videos and we're just sharing that on our personal pages or whatever, it really allows us to stay in touch. And then the one big aspect I love of it is the fact that we've already almost pitched to our customers without them having to call or make that first effort, and allows us to be in the door. They already feel like they know us a little bit. There's already topics of conversation for us to start off on or questions for them to ask right away. And you don't get that in any other sense. Usually it takes the customer initiating that first point of contact. Social media, when used correctly, allows you to initiate that first point without having to be so direct. You can do it organically as well.
So anybody that's looking, any I guess lawn care, hardscape, doesn't really matter who. Somebody who's looking to get into this industry, what can they expect? Even if they're looking to just come in, at an entry level, as you suggested, in asphalt maintenance. What's the season? What's a typical season that you would be looking at being busy at? When should you start marketing?
Sure. So ours usually runs from the beginning of May until the end of September. Granted, you do get a couple of weeks here and there where things change because we're in Indian summers or things like that. But that's the main thing, is you need to focus on those months. So you only have a window for where we are. Some of the southern states, the guys keep the pressure on all the time. But up here, we only have a certain amount of time. So we start marketing about beginning of March. That gives us 2 months to be on the tabs and kind of get people out there. We really market all the time, but I make an effort and organize a plan for March and April. Those are the times when I'm going to be out. I'm going to be giving estimates, getting everything lined up for our summer. Usually by mid-May, the end of May, we're booked up for the solid for the summer. So I try not to take on any new clients unless they're really lucrative for us, because our current catalog keeps us fairly busy, but we're adding on to our ability to take on more customers here very soon. So we'll just go ahead and adjust, and with growth, that's kind of the way that things go. So I imagine I'll be having to brush off the marketing hat here quite a bit and make sure that we're fulfilling what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm happy to hear that. On a more personal level, how many ball caps do you own?
I own a lot, and I
don't think I've ever seen you wear the same ball cap twice in all the time we've been working together.
Yeah, I own a lot of them. So there's a lot.
Is one of them a big block of cheese?
One isn't a big block of cheese. No,
You're not a cheesehead.
I'm not. I own stock in the Packers, which is fine, and that's enough. That's enough for me. I think that displays enough of my affection for that team.
As long as you can make a buck out of it, but not
That's
to
right. That's right. At least have a good conversation piece. But yeah, many caps, no cheese caps. A lot of green industry caps get sent to me. A lot of black industry caps get sent to me, and I'm always happy to wear them because I seem to always have shirts that go with them. So works
you're
out
going
great.
You're going to GIE next year if there's a live event.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, listen, it was fantastic to get to hear a little bit more about you and your business. As always, I'm sure everybody that's listening was interested in this because, again, it was something so new and fresh for our community. Obviously, guys, go to the UAG profile page. You can find Marvin's profile there, and any content that he posts will be linked there. or obviously just look him up on our mobile app, Echo Means Business mobile app. He's probably on it more than almost anybody else, offering advice and showcasing his painted stripes
Yeah.
To compete with your mode stripes all the time. But outside of our own community, Marvin, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me, especially on Facebook. I'm there most of the time. If you type in my name, you'll find me. And on Instagram, Wis-Coat has its own Instagram there, as well as our podcast, Blacktop Banter, has its own there. That's really where I interact with my community quite a bit, is through Blacktop Banter. Wis-Coat, I'd be happy to show you all of our work and everything we do business-wise at Wis-Coat there. So those are the two big things, at Wis-Coat LLC on Instagram, at Blacktop Banter on Instagram, both of those respectively on our YouTube channels as well. And you can always DM me if you have questions. I'm always at the other end of the line, and I'd be glad to answer any that we have for, especially our EMB crew. I love it.
Cool, thanks. I look forward to reading more of your content on the community soon. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks.